Okay, let me hit share. I think I'm recording now. Okay, so you should be able to see my shared screen over here within my Google Drive right now. If you have not logged into Google itself yet, your Google Drive, if you go just to a basic web browser using Chrome, we want you to just go to a Google page, hit enter. You'll get the option on this upper left-hand corner. There's an apps feature here. If you select that, that'll take you to Google Drive, and you can select that to log in. That's one way of doing it. I'm already logged in. If you weren't logged in, it would prompt you to log into your Google Drive. It would take you through your FWCS, your credentials, your email address and password. You'll want to use your FWCS at this point because that will tie you to some of the other things that we need to have. Let me go back to another method here, and I'll show you another way. The other way would be if you went to a Google web browser and up on the right-hand side and you selected the waffle up here and selected your drive. That would basically take you to the same places where you could log in and access your drive here. Now, how you know that you are in your FWCS drive is you'll see your icon up here on this upper right-hand corner. A lot of what we get where we don't have file permissions or they're requesting access to is because folks are not necessarily logged into their FWCS Google Drive on the side here. So you just want to make sure that you're signed in to your FWCS account. And I'll show you how we can work back and forth from a private account to your own personalized or your FWCS account here towards the end of it, okay? So I'm going to go back to my Google here. Let me get back here. Okay. And one of the things that we want to take a look at is how our viewed layout is. If you come up here to this upper right-hand corner, you can see a grid view or a list view. I'm currently in a grid view now where everything's kind of laid out. It's not all structured up and down. I'm going to show you if I change this to a list view, you can see that my folders are all listed here now and my files are following it like this. It's just your preference on what you want to do. You can also change on whether you want to do it by the name. This will toggle it back and forth alphabetically. You could also do it by last modified over here, whether it was modified by you or opened. I prefer personally, I like to just have the grid view because it seems like it's just a little bit cleaner layout to me in this method here. My files are all down here, broken here, or in this layout. My folders are here. And I wanted to speak a little bit about this quick access. The quick access is files that you've really dealt with most recently, and you're actually, let me add this guy here, and you've worked with them the most recent activity. It's just a quick way to get to them in order to access what you need to access. Notice though, when you select it, it can be alpha. So if I went to my grid view and I went by my name, it's going to list your folders in a alphabetical order. Now, one of the tips and keys to organizing your Google Drive, if you want to make sure that you see some of your folders that are up front and in front of you most all the time, you can put like a number system behind it. So here, for my today's example, I listed first folder, second folder, 5-year plan. Those are all numbers that will appear first, and then it'll start going alphabetically after that. So that's a nice key little tip in order to keep your Google Drive organized as well. Another thing that you'll notice is some of my folders actually have colors to them, and some are just bland. When you create a new folder by default, it'll be bland. If you want to change it to a color, that's as simple as just right-clicking on it, coming down here to where it says change color, and it gives you, I think they said it's like 24 different colors you can select. So if I wanted this particular one, like an orange, I could highlight that. Notice how it just changed. So how would that help us and how would that benefit us? Say that you were working on a project and you had different files and folders that were being shared out by you, or you were using them. You could actually color code your folders based off of the project that you were working on. Could be a lesson plan series. Maybe it's your lessons for the week that you want to have a different folder color for. Just an easy way to kind of organize it by doing colors as well. Now,
hey, Rick.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, do you need to check to see if anybody else wants to come in?
I did not see anybody.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I have my little list here that's popping up, and I don't see anybody else to add right now, Steve. So
good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for checking on that. So what, basically, if you look in this left-hand side here, this is kind of your home button. So if you select Drive, that's going to take you back to your home drive, your home screen on how it's set up, even if you're within a folder and different things or in a file or so. We're going to take a look at different methods on how you can add folders. You can select your My Drive here is one method, and you can say new folder. You can also select your plus button over here to add a folder or a file or a Google Doc. Same way here. It's just the same methods to access it. Or if you come down below the quick access bar and you right click on any of these open areas, you can do the same thing. So I'm just going to say new folder. You can title it. Now, I like to use caps because they kind of stick out more for me here. So I'm going to say first a folder. Oops. And I'm going to use all caps like I said I was. And I'm going to say create. Notice how it put it here because 1A is before 1S for the ST there. So if I want to change the color, right click, go down to change color. I'll make this one whatever color that is. Okay. So then now they're kind of sticking out. They're bold for me. I have some folders out here now that aren't necessarily all caps, but you can do it however you want to do it. So how do we add files? All right, so it's as simple as if I've created a folder, I can double click on that folder, and I can do the same thing here. I can right click and I can upload files to it. I could say new, I could say upload file. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to grab a file off of my desktop. So if I say file upload, this is going to open up your window where you can pick different files from and you can browse to it. I'm selecting files actually on my desktop. So I'm going to come down here to, I'm going to pick a Word document. This one is called One Accessing Edgenuity. You'll see a little upload item on the right-hand side, this lower right hand, and as the file gets uploaded, when it finally uploads, that should turn to a checkbox here. I had a little trouble before where it was starting and then it was kind of stopping on me, and it doesn't look like it wants to do it yet, but there it goes. Notice how it changed to a green checkbox. It went through it, and now I have that within this folder here, okay? It's still a Word document. Okay, I wanted people to understand that, know that. We can open this Word document within our Google Drive simply by clicking on it. It tells us that we're opening it into a DOCX format here. We can come over here, and then this is typically where we get our options to open in Kami, but in this case, I'm not even logged into Kami yet. I'm just going to open this file using Google Docs. Here's what I want to show you guys, because this is kind of tricky if you're not familiar with it. If I open it into Google Doc, it's still going to allow me to edit it, and it's going to keep it in that doc format. So notice it's opening it in Google Docs, but it's keeping the DOCX format. So if I come up here and I change something on it, maybe I just want to change the color, highlight it, I can close it. It's going to auto save for me. It'll take a moment for it to really come back here, but I'm going to go back to my drive now. And here's where it changed the color for me. It's still in the Word format. I'm going to click back on it again. Okay, here's where it opened up. I can open it with Google Docs again. It did change it. So the difference now is, let's say I want to create this in a Google Doc environment. I can come over here to where the file is, and I can say, save as a Google Doc. It'll open up here. Notice that it has the Google Doc format here, but there's no DOCX behind it. That's how you'll know that. Now, if you wanted, you could click right here and you could type in Google format behind it or something like that. I'm going to do that just so you can see. I'm going to click off. It'll save it that way. I'm going to close it. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go back to my folder. As you can see, there's my one accessing Google Edgenuity account. Here's my one accessing Google with my Word format. So I still have both formats available. Why we want it into a Google Doc format is because it can do some things with our LMS that will allow us to integrate easier with it. So just keep that in mind. So what I did is I showed you how to upload a file and how to convert from a Word document to a Google Drive to a Google Doc document, or if you want to leave it in the Word format, you're welcome to do that. Now, another thing I wanted to show you is I'm going to go back to my drive. And let's say, okay, I've got a bunch of files that I really want to get to my Google Drive, but I really don't want to do the upload all at one time. Single files. I don't want to say new, upload, and keep picking file after file. So you can create an upload folder. And I did that here. I'm going to show you on this desktop. For today's purposes, just as an example, I named a folder called One Computer to Google folder. And I did the one because when I upload that folder, you're going to see that folder will come into my Google Drive where it'll be up towards the top where I can see it. I'm going to open this folder just so you can see from my desktop, and I could drag and drop other folders from wherever, or files wherever I have them from, and put them in this folder to get them ready for the upload. Okay. Let me close this window. I'm going to go back to my Google Drive. Now I'm going to upload a folder. I can get it from there. I can right click and get it from there, or I can get it from over here. Let's say folder upload. It's going to want to browse to where your folder upload is again. I'm going to scroll down to where I have here. One Computer to Google Drive. That was the folder that I was talking about. I'm going to select upload. It's going to say, hey, you got 7 files you want to upload. Are you sure you want to do this? Well, sure I am. So it's going to take a moment or a while for this to upload. It's going to really be dependent on whether you have, what kind of file types they are. If you have movies and PowerPoints and things like that that have a lot more content in them, then that's going to take longer for it to upload. You can see here, though, that it put it right here, One Computer to Google Drive. It's still uploading here. And then usually, and I don't see it here now, but usually this little indication window, okay, it's complete now, but usually that indication window might have a little circle that starts to fill in, and when it gets to 100%, then it'll pop up. There it shows you that with the checkbox, I'm good to go. So now when I come back over to here and I select it, notice I brought in different files. I brought in pictures. I brought in Word documents. I brought in Excel files. I brought in PDFs. It really doesn't matter the file type as long as you put them in a folder to upload to get them in there. How we can change what files we're working at is once we open them. That'll allow us to convert them over to different methods if we want on that part. Okay. So now I want to go back here. Go back to my drive. I'm going to show you a couple things here. If I come over here to that folder I just uploaded, I'm going to take a look at some of these files here. Okay. If I double click it, that's going to just open up my Excel file. I can say open up with Google Sheets. Same thing. We get those options. I'm still able to open up my files there. If I go back to my drive and I come down to, I want to take a look at a couple files that I have down here. That's a Dancing Granny. So here's a converted to Google Doc file. Let's open this one up. Okay. There it did. So this was a test Word document that I converted over to a Google Drive. If I look at that same document in my Google Drive, I'm going to come back over to here. There's where it is. If I right click on it, I can come down here and I can say add the star. Maybe I want to do this presentation here. I'm going to right click it and I can add this to starred. And the reason I'm adding it to the starred, because starred will be kind of like a bookmarked area where you can grab a bunch of files at once if you want. So I'm going to right click this one and I'm going to star this one. So I basically just starred three files quickly on there. Now if I come down here and I look at my starred heading over here and I select that, you're going to see everything that I've starred in the past, whether it's a folder, certification. I starred that earlier. Some of you guys are taking the Google certification training. But what that does is that allows that to be put in to one area that you have quick access as well. So maybe you want to star those unit plans for that week or those lessons, or if you're working on a project like I mentioned earlier, you could star them and that just references it kind of like a bookmark for you on that. Okay. Let's see what else we have. So we talked about how we can name the files to see them easier. And I don't know if
Rick, there are a couple questions in the chat. I don't know if you want to address those now or wait till the end.
Sure, jump.
I'm taking care of those.
Okay, thank you, Diana.
Yeah.
All right. So now I want to look at, we talked about how we can upload some folders. We talked about how we can upload some files. We talked about how we could open up those files and can convert them over. We talked about how we can star them to recently see them. We looked at our quick access, our most quickly used and common files that we've used recently. I want to talk to you about this priority tab now. Priority tab is similar to some of the functions of starring, but it allows you to create a workspace. So if I come over here, I've already created like a Project Tech workspace. If I created a workspace and I called it Lesson Plans Week 5, let's say, I can say create. What that will do is it'll create a workspace area for whatever I name it, and then you can add files to that. You can add folders, but you can add files, and it will allow you to add up to 25 files to that space. So if I select this, it's going to give me the option over here on this right-hand side. Okay, well, what files do you want to create, or what files do you want to add to this workspace? You can just scroll down through there, find what you want. this is what my recent ones were. If I wanted to look on my drive, select the tab over on that. If I wanted to look at other areas within my Google Drive, if you select this arrow over here. So maybe it's a file that was shared with me from somebody else. I could select that. And these are all the files that people have shared out with me. I could add that to that workspace as well. Or I can look at just my starred ones if I wanted to. Kind of like my bookmarks. Okay, I wanted this one, selected it. I'm going to come down over here. I want to add this one, and I'm going to say insert. I'm going to say done. And what that did is that created my lesson plan week 5 workspace for me. So I can use my bookmarks or my starred files to create a work area for me if I want on that. Okay. One of the things that you can also do is you can search on your drive. If I select my drive to go back, my drive icon to get back to my home drive screen, let's say, you can search up here, and it's a really good search function because it'll allow you to search titles and people. So if I type in, like, let's say I'm going to type in PowerSchool. This shows me all my files that are PowerSchool related to me. I could type in a last name, type in Fulton. You can see that I can actually click on, these were all the files that Diana owns, but I can search that way as well and find files if I need to. Another thing that you can do is there's a drop down arrow here that gives you more of a detail. So I can find any type of file that I want. I can find it from any owner that I want, or I can find it in different categories. That's how it's listed here. And then just hit search. So it will allow you to do a really nice detailed search on finding them that way. Okay. Talked about starred. We just went over priority. We talked about our number changes on how you can identify your folders quickly. Talked about the star. Uploading files as well. There is another method that you can do. If I come over here and I go back to my drive, and let's say I don't necessarily want to do a file upload or a folder upload. If you go over to your desktop and you grab a file, you can left click and drag it, and you can see where it's going to come in here, and I can drop that, and that will pull it in, and that will add that file as well. So that's just another method that you can use. You can drag it, drop it, and that will add it to your drive as well. I want to talk a little bit about sharing permissions. So we get a lot of, hey, how can I share out files within the organization? How can I share out files outside of FWCS to other people? I know the folks that are using Google certification now, they're going through that class. You have to have a private account. That will allow you to use your private account, and you can actually move them over to your FWCS Google account through a couple of steps on doing that. But let me go over here first, and I'm going to show you the share permissions on the file, so, or folders. Say I want to share out this computer to Google Drive folder. These were the ones that I uploaded, and I want to send that to somebody and share it out. If I right click on that, I get a share option. I also have a share option up here that I can use. I'm going to right click. I'm going to left click on the share. Here's where it'll give you where you can enter their email addresses or names. You can get a shareable link if you just want to post the link out, and then people who click on it can access it. I'm going to select get a shareable link. Here's where you can see now where it says anyone with the link can view. They can't necessarily edit it, but they'll be able to view it and download it and make a copy of it if they need to. There's also an advanced tab here if you want to change that permission level. If you just want to send it to folks in FWCS, keep it at view for right now. If you want to grab it, you can copy that link. You can paste the link on your LMS, or you can enter the people's name, and that they'll get an email that will allow them to see what's being shared with them. If I select my advanced tab, you can see here now I had it as anyone as FWCS who has the link can view it. So if I posted that out and you were within FWCS, you could get to it. I can select my change button here. These are where you can change to your specific permissions. Do I want it public on the web? Do I want to say anyone with a link can access this? Sign in, no sign in required. So if I select anyone who can access this link, no sign in, if I sent that out, they would be able to see it. I'm going to say specific people here. I'm going to come over here then, and I'm going to enter the names. So I'm going to use my private account now, and I'm going to type that in. And I'm going to say send, and I would get notified. If I don't want to notify the person, I can uncheck that. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to say send. Are you sure? Yes. So now I have my personal Gmail account that I send it to. So if you had files that you need to move back and forth from your personal Google Drive or your FWCS drive, you can do it this way. I can say done. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to open up an incognito window. And I've logged in with my other account. Notice there's no FWCS icon up here. And that's how you know you're not in FWCS. Whereas over here, you can see my Google Drive as at FWCS. So since I shared it from my Fort Wayne drive to my personal Google Drive, I want to come over to shared with me. And there it is. I shared this folder from my personal drive or my Fort Wayne Community School drive to my personal drive. And now when I open it up, I'll see the same thing that I have on both sides here. So that's one way that you can share it from your FWCS to your personal drive on that part. Okay. If I want to unshare it, because let's say it's been a while, I can come over here to, let me go back to my main drive. I'll come back to my main drive here so you can see the shared with me. It's taking a moment to get to my drive. Okay. So this was the folder that I shared out. If I right click on it, I can go back to where it says share, or I can go back up to here. Either way, I'll click up here. Now you can see where it says shared with Kid Cowboy is my private Gmail account. I can select that. If I want to take that person's name off, I can simply click and say save changes. It should disappear over on this side here. You see it went away. So basically what I did there is I just unshared that with my personal Kid Cowboy account, and I was able to take it back that way. So, all right, so we had some questions.
Yeah, I think we got them addressed. The only one, let me revert back to, was second on Todd Phillips. Can you grab info from the weekly lessons screen and keep the formatting by using Google Docs?
So is the weekly formatting, is that in a PDF? Is that the weekly lesson from the PDF? Let's come over here. Let's see if I can find that here. That should be under Fort Wayne Community Schools, weekly lessons. Does anybody know what week we're on now? 4 to 8. Are we looking at elementary, middle, or high school?
I don't think it matters. It's
Okay. So
middle,
let's go.
never mind, middle school is what it was suggested.
All right, so let me grab middle school student lessons, grade 6 to 8. Okay, so what you can do here is once you have that, you can select download. And I can select, well, I can do it to my desktop or I can select download. I'm going to leave it to my desktop. I'm going to say save. I'm going to have to find it on my desktop here. Grade 6 through 8. Just a minute. I went to my desktop. And of course, my desktop. Okay, so here it is on my desktop. I found it. All right, so I'm going to go back to my Google Drive then. What you can do here then is, once again, you can upload it. I could drag and drop it if I wanted to. This is grade 6 through 8, so I can drag it from my desktop and I can put it in here. It's uploading it right here now. Grade 6 through 8 learning opportunities. Let me find it down through here. Should be in here. Okay, so there it finally loaded it. So let's come over here. Let me see if I can search for it. Grade 6 through 8 learning opportunities. So I just found that PDF that I downloaded from our FWCS external page. I just uploaded it to my Google Drive. Now we get the option of opening with Google Docs, or you can annotate with Kami, or once you figure out what you need to do within those links, you could do the same thing there. Maybe there's some other downloads that they want you to pull down in a like a file or something you want students to work on. But yes, you can pull those files down and you can upload them to your Google Drive, and then you can open them with or annotate with Kami to do that. Okay. Is there any other questions in the chat? Where's my?
I don't think so. I think we addressed the ones that were sent.
Okay.
Unless
So-
anybody else wants to chime in, please feel free.
So there's a couple other things I can show you here then. So let's say I had this document here and I right-clicked on it and I trashed it and I said remove. That took it away. I'm going to do, here's the 6 through 8 PDF. I'm going to delete that one, say remove. That will put that in my trash area. If I select my trash icon, you're going to see the files that I trashed. But if I right-click, I can restore, or you can delete forever. So it doesn't go away right away. I'm not sure. I think it might be 30 days. I don't know if anybody knows on that part. If they do, they're welcome to chime in. I can't remember off the top of my head, but if you right-click and say restore, that's going to take it back to my drive, and I'll have it again.
Okay, another question came in, Rick. Can you download just part of the document that we were just looking at and not the entire document? So just specific pages.
So let's go to where it was at. Let me go back to our FWCS weekly lesson, and we were 6 through 8, right?
Yes.
Oh, there's 17 pages. I don't know if you can download a single page. Or
I will
not.
give you a hack if that would help. If you, instead of download, if you click the print button
Okay. By page.
and then select your destination as your PDF printer, then you could specify a page range or specific pages.
Okay. So let's say PDF, and then I can customize that, and then I can pick just what page that I want. So maybe I want
Yeah, so if you, let's say if you wanted to have page 4 and page 8, you would just put 4,8.
4,8. And there it is. It's page 4 and page 8. So that's great. And it even identifies this as page 4, page 8. I'm going to say save. It's going to ask me, where do I want to save it? Well, I'm going to save it in a folder I can find it easily in. Let's go with. That's on my desktop. New folder. I'm going to save it to my computer one to Google Drive one. Save. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to minimize this, minimize this. I'm going to open this. And this is 6 through 8. I'm going to open that. And it did just grab those. I only have 2 of them. So that was a great tip. That was a really good tip, Diana. So we can find it out on our download page instead of downloading all of 17, like Diana mentioned. We can select printer. We can select the destination as saving it as a PDF. We change our pages from all to custom. And you can put commas if you want the first 5, it would be 1-5 behind it. And then hit save, and then that would save it to your destination. Good point. Hope that helps. Let me go back to my Google Drive here again. So that will pretty much cover it. Now, another thing that you can look at is the activity on your files that have been taking place. So here's my Edgenuity. I can right click this and I can say, remove add shortcut, shareable. Oh, let me highlight it. Rename, manage versions, that's version. Okay, hang on a minute. That's my Cami. No, I missed that. But there's a way of looking at the activity. Let's see if it's the folder. Okay, so if I go to view details, I don't think you can do it under quick access. So let me come over here. Let me right click on a document. That's version. I can say view details. On this side over here, it'll show you what the details are. Plus you can see the activity behind it. And it'll show you, hey, I uploaded. So if you've done a lot with a particular file, it will give you that information. Let me grab a different one here. I don't like that one. So if I go back into this folder here, let me look at my view details for the folder. Here's where we can see a few things here. I restricted access to 7 items. Here's where I shared 7 items. As you can see, I was practicing uploading, downloading, sharing items. I created it. So that will give you an activity of what's happened within your files and folders as well on what that does. Your drive takes you back here. If you simply want to create just a standard blank Google document, come up here and select Google Docs. You can select more, and it gives you other options here to select more from. But I'm going to select just the Google Doc one. It comes up untitled. You can start typing. My first document. This does a test. I can come over here, click on that, come back. It names it what you like in Word, what you first put in there. You can close it, and it'll save it for you. And there it is when I get a refresh. Under my quick access, because that's what I used, the most common files that I've used. So you can change your views over here. You can name it. You can look at last modified by me. Change it to your grid view if you want. My priority is where I have my workspaces. If I'm done with my workspace, I can come over here and highlight it, and I can say remove. Say remove. Then I'm ready for week number 2 or another lesson or whatever I need to do on that for the workspace I'm working on. Starred once again. You can star your items to find them as a quick bookmark reference. There is some settings here in the upper right. If you select the settings, you can tell Google Drive what you want to do with each document or converted type that you want. So you could say, make your priority a default homepage. I didn't do that. You could actually say convert uploaded files to Google Docs. So if I had the Word document, it's automatically going to convert that over for me if I want to do that as well. We don't really deal with offline right now for that part. But there's just some additional settings that can take place in there if you want like a conversion to take place every time you upload that file as a Google Doc. So what else do we have? Are there any other questions then that came in?
No, I think we got them, Rick.
Okay.
I feel like we did, unless somebody, I missed one, someone wants to chime in, that'd be great.
Well, let me show you guys where you can find our resources. Most of you already know where that's at, but if you look at our FWCS page, I want to go back to our main page. And you go under your staff resources tab. You'll see where we have staff resources integrate ed. That'll take you to our resource page where you can select this drop down and you can find different videos for different things on different subjects. So today we did Google Drive. If you select that, you're going to see that almost everything, well, really everything that we covered today, there's already a video created for it that you can go back and just look at it again if you want to. If you need help on your PowerSchool learning, select the tab on the heading. That takes you back to here. And here's a bunch of tutorials on how you can do that as well. And we've really broken that down, and we're focusing it on what teachers would use within their classroom or put on their LMS page to help folks during this time. So, and we'll be adding more as time goes as well. But if we don't have any other questions, then I think we're done here for today. And I just want to thank everybody for showing up, coming to it, and being part of it.
Thanks, Rick.
So, roll it out. Okay. Okay, everybody. You have a nice day then. See ya.
You too.